Hey everybody, what I'm about to show you and talk to you about is something you should not do. Repeat, do not do this at home or in work or ever, candidly. I should not be even sharing this with you since I'm a former FBI agent. Read this disclaimer right there, read it all, pause the video, read it every single line. But again, do not do this. Repeat, do not do this. That's my disclaimer. I can't be sued. This video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cybersecurity team exercise. This is perfect to do right now when you're working remote. You can do it when you go back in the office. Honestly, anytime you want to implement some sort of training that's interesting, this is for you. All right, so I call it basically the exercise, are we hackable? And it's something that if you're an IT administrator, you're a cybersecurity director, you're an owner of a business, so it doesn't matter who you are, this is just a great mental exercise. So the video is just going to be broken down into two main parts. Part one, we want to prime your team. You're going to have people on your team that are going to have a hard time to think like a criminal, because that's what we're going to do. We're all going to think like criminals. I was trying to explain the concept of how criminals think to my mother. My mother is this individual who sees the world in one way. It's literally black or white. She's the type of person who's only kissed one man her entire life. That dude is my dad, by the way, in case some of you are wondering. At least I think it's my dad. Anyway, we'll assume he's my father. Remind me to call mom after this video. She's this person. So when I try to prime her, it's very difficult to do because she doesn't think differently than what she's accustomed to thinking. So a lot of people have this problem. This is what this exercise, the first part is do. So part one, you want to prime the audience. You try to get them in this mindset. So how do you prime your team? Well, you just give them this next analogy. You basically ask them, for everyone in the room, everyone on the video conference call, to be a burglar. Just embrace that world, close their eyes, and become a criminal. Now, initially, some people are going to be like, I don't know how to begin to tackle this problem. So you make it easier for them. Basically, you show them various houses, and as a group, you're going to talk about it. You give them the scenario. The scenario is that they're burglars, and they're trying to basically acquire various items that don't belong to them. So let's dive into this. You're going to show them a house like this, house number one. You're going to give them key facts. It's in Malibu, California. You're going to ask them, what does that mean to them? If a house is in Malibu, California, what does that tell them? It's a nice house. Malibu is an expensive part of the area. So these are all things to think about. And this is what you're going to walk your team through, this mental exercise. So they're going to basically, at this point, should be engaging with you. And if they're not, then you got to keep trying and pull harder. Ask them questions. Would you go after this house? And you break down into two parts, pro con. What are the pros of this? When you look at this house, why would you want to do it if you're a criminal? And so you can help them out through it. Say, okay, well, it's a nice house. There's probably nice things inside. What's another pro about being secluded? Police will take longer to respond to a house like this. Now, some might follow with the con. Well, if it's a nice area, it might not be. And it might not be. But that's something you want to think of. Well, where's the closest precinct or local police station? That's going to be a factor, part of the equation. But that's the idea, to start thinking like a criminal. So you walk them through this. And then after you're done with house number one, you show them house number two. And you give them some key facts that surround this house. It's an upscale neighborhood. Pro, con, and again, what are the pros? What are the cons? Now, this house, a pro could basically be, well, there's a number of other homes nearby. So that's actually a good thing, because walking in front of this house might not arouse suspicion versus walking in front of a house that's secluded. The next house I like to throw in is the house you're looking at right now on your screen. This is a multi-million/billion-dollar home. Maybe billion's exaggeration, but multi-million-dollar home. It's in an extremely nice part of town. And I highlight on here that it belongs to an NBA All-Star. Now, that NBA All-Star has a lot of context. That then tells you, well, you'll know when he's going to travel. Now, think about that. NBA All-Star, what does that mean? Do you think he's got multiple houses? There's a high probability he does. But guess what? We can figure all that out by just Googling it. We can get a lot of information about this person. And that is how you start thinking like the criminal. Because it's in a very, very affluent neighborhood, the neighbors may or may not be engaged with one another because they might be in that same situation where they have multiple homes. So this would be an ideal target for you. But there's definitely a high probability that there's on-premises security system, and there's probably an on-premise guard that patrols this entire neighborhood. So the final one I like to show them, something that looks like this. Now, this is a condo community. In this instance, this is in Los Angeles, California, which means a lot. It adds more context. And that's something that, again, you ask them, what are some pros and cons here? Think about this. If you're a 911 operator, you get a call, 911, what's your emergency? I think someone's breaking into my condo. Okay, sir, what's your address? Where's your condo? Sir, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just think someone's in my condo. Well, sir, can you go into a safe location? Yes. Given those contexts, there's a high probability LAPD has a lot of other pressing matters. They might not respond that quickly. If you're a criminal and you're doing something like this, that actually plays your advantage. And these are all things that you'll talk to your group about. Get them primed for this. This is actually a really fun activity, unless they themselves have been victimized, and then it's, it could be a sensitive situation. However, let's assume that's not the case. Now, at the very end of the exercise, I like to show everyone all 4 houses. And I ask them the question, of the 4, which would you pick? You don't pick one. Every time I've ever done this, there's always a different number of people who pick different houses. So you get some people pick 1, some people pick 2, another group pick 3, and at least one or more pick 4. Most people actually pick 4 in this analogy, by the way, because most people are risk adverse. And so when they think about it, they think, oh, LA, big city, this probably won't be on the police radar. They'll go after this. They'll typically go after whatever house you establish to the audience is the safest one. So anyway, but then you start them thinking, this primes them to think like the criminal, right? Once this complete this analogy, what you do is you go to part 2 of this exercise. And part 2 of the exercise is you just actually jump into what you're really there for, talking about your network. The first thing you're gonna bring up are data breaches. If you're on-prem, you're sitting in the room together, you pull out a whiteboard, right? If you're remote, like we are right now, you pull out a Google Jamboard if you have one, or you just simply open up a text document and you share your screen. But you write down ideas, and you're gonna ask them, okay, so if you're a hacker and you're gonna facilitate data breach, how would you do it? And this gets them thinking. And you start brainstorming. Every idea is a good idea. Now this exercise, I probably should have started off with this, but you should bring in other people, not just your IT team, or not just your cybersecurity team, but bring in someone maybe from marketing, from sales, different perspectives, because people will start thinking about this problem differently. And that's really what you want to do. The next one you go to is ransomware. You ask your team, again, if you were to facilitate a ransomware attack on our network, how would you do it? And the final one you talk about is business email compromise. How would you, as an IT administrator or sales representative or whomever in the room or online, how would you basically facilitate a business email compromise on our network? You just brainstorm all these ideas, and as you write these down, you'll have a lot of great information at the end of it. And then you go back and figure out, okay, well, are we secured in these arenas? Would this attack actually work? That's the exercise in a nutshell. Easy to do, and it's actually quite fun. It's very immersive. It allows you to engage with your team, talk about it, and actually at the end of the day, walk away with something tangible, really good insight. And who knows your network better than you do? No one. And that's the beauty of this exercise. You just have to prime your audience, your team, to think differently. So I'd love to hear your comments about this exercise. I would love to hear if you implemented it, kind of what the response was, if you have ideas on how to improve it. So comment down below and reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.